Imagine a world fractured, a land scarred by centuries of brutal warfare, where rival kings fought for scraps of power and the dreams of a unified empire lay in ashes. This was China after the fall of the mighty Qin dynasty. The first emperor's grand vision had crumbled, leaving behind a power vacuum filled with chaos, ambition, and bloodshed. From this crucible of conflict, two titans emerged: Xiang Yu, the aristocratic, seemingly invincible warlord, and Liu Bang, a peasant-born, pragmatic upstart. Their epic struggle wasn't just a battle for a throne, it was a battle for the very soul of China. One man's victory would not only forge a new dynasty, but would lay the bedrock for a civilization that would endure for millennia. This is the story of how a common man, against all odds, rose to become an emperor and give his name to a people and a culture. This is the story of the Han Dynasty. The fall of the Qin was as swift as its rise was meteoric. The first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, had unified China through ruthless efficiency, standardizing everything from currency to the width of cart axles. He built the Great Wall and the Terracotta Army, but his reign was built on fear and brutal legalism. When he died, his fragile empire imploded. Rebellions erupted across the land. Amidst this turmoil, Liu Bang, a minor official from a rural backwater, saw his chance. He wasn't a military genius like his rival Xiang Yu. He wasn't born into nobility. In fact, stories say he was a bit of a scoundrel in his youth, known for his love of drink and his dislike of farm work. But Liu Bang possessed something far more valuable: an uncanny ability to judge character and inspire loyalty. He gathered around him a motley crew of brilliant strategists, like the cunning Zhang Liang, and formidable generals, like the peerless Han Xin. While the fearsome Xiang Yu was winning battle after battle, Liu Bang was winning hearts and minds. He understood that ruling wasn't just about overwhelming force. When his army captured the Qin capital, he forbade looting and treated the populace with respect, a stark contrast to Xiang Yu's destructive rampages. This single act of clemency won him the support of the people. The ensuing conflict, the Chu-Han contention, was a 4-year chess match of strategy, betrayal, and epic battles. There were moments it seemed Liu Bang was finished, forced to abandon his own family to escape Xiang Yu's clutches. But he was resilient. He was a survivor. In the decisive Battle of Gaixia, Liu Bang's general Han Xin devised a brilliant psychological trap. He surrounded Xiang Yu's dwindling army and had his troops sing the folk songs of Xiang Yu's home state of Chu. Hearing the songs of their homeland, Xiang Yu's soldiers lost their will to fight, believing their kingdom had already fallen. Utterly defeated and humiliated, the great warlord Xiang Yu took his own life on the banks of the Wu River. The path was clear. In 202 BCE, Liu Bang, the peasant rebel, ascended the dragon throne, proclaiming himself Emperor Gaozu and establishing the Han Dynasty. It was a victory not just for him, but for a new idea of leadership, one based on pragmatism and the mandate of heaven, the belief that a just ruler had a divine right to govern. Emperor Gaozu understood the Qin's failure. A purely centralized, iron-fisted rule was too brittle. So, he implemented a clever hybrid system. He directly controlled the western half of the empire, while granting semi-autonomous kingdoms in the east to his loyal generals and relatives. It was a pragmatic compromise to secure his new dynasty. He also repealed the harshest Qin laws and significantly reduced taxes, allowing the war-torn land and its people to heal and recover. This laid the economic groundwork for what would become a golden age. He established his capital at Chang'an, a city that would grow to become one of the largest and most cosmopolitan in the ancient world, a vibrant hub of trade, culture, and power. But the Han's greatest challenge lay to the north. The nomadic Xiongnu Confederation had long been a thorn in China's side. Instead of pursuing costly wars, Gaozu initiated a policy of heqin, or harmonious kinship. This was essentially a peace through diplomacy and bribery strategy. The Han would send lavish gifts of silk, liquor, and rice, and most importantly, a Han princess as a bride for the Xiongnu leader. It was a controversial and, to many, humiliating policy, but it bought the fledgling dynasty precious decades of peace. allowing it to consolidate its power and build its strength. This pragmatic, sometimes humbling approach to foreign policy was a hallmark of Liu Bang's reign. He wasn't driven by ego but by what was best for the stability of his empire. After Liu Bang's death, the court was dominated by his formidable wife, Empress Liu Ji. She was one of the most powerful and ruthless women in Chinese history. For 15 years, she ruled from behind the scenes, installing her own family in positions of power and eliminating her rivals with brutal efficiency. While her reign was marked by political stability and a continuation of Gaozu's policies, her cruelty became legendary, serving as a cautionary tale for future generations about the dangers of unchecked power within the imperial family. Her death led to a purge of her clan and the restoration of the Liu imperial line, proving the system Liu Bang had built was strong enough to withstand even the most severe internal crises. The dynasty truly came into its own under its seventh emperor, Wu of Han, or Emperor Wu. His 54-year reign is considered one of the most consequential in all of Chinese history. Ascending the throne as a teenager, Emperor Wu was ambitious, energetic, and possessed a grand vision for his empire. He was tired of appeasing the Xiongnu. He wanted to crush them. He launched a series of massive military campaigns, sending his armies deep into Central Asia. These wars were incredibly expensive in both blood and treasure, but they succeeded in breaking the Xiongnu threat and dramatically expanding the Han Empire's territory. These expeditions also had an unintended, but world-changing consequence. In his quest for allies and a mythical breed of heavenly horses from the west, Emperor Wu sent his envoy, Zhang Qian, on an epic journey into the unknown. Zhang Qian was captured by the Xiongnu and held for over a decade, but he eventually escaped and continued his mission, traveling as far as modern-day Uzbekistan and Afghanistan. Though he failed to find military allies, he returned with something far more valuable: knowledge. He brought back detailed reports of powerful, sophisticated civilizations in Central and Western Asia, of their products, their cities, and their trade routes. His journey effectively blew open China's worldview and laid the foundation for the legendary Silk Road. For the first time, a network of trade routes connected the East and West, allowing goods, ideas, philosophies, and technologies to flow between China, India, Persia, and even the Roman Empire. Silk, that coveted secret fabric of China, began its long journey westward, while things like grapes, alfalfa, and new ideas flowed east. At home, Emperor Wu implemented sweeping reforms to centralize power and fund his military expansion. He established government monopolies on two of life's most essential commodities: salt and iron. This move generated enormous state revenue but was highly unpopular with the merchant class and common people. His most lasting domestic achievement, however, was in the realm of ideology. Emperor Wu officially established Confucianism as the state orthodoxy. He created the Imperial Academy, an institution dedicated to teaching the Confucian classics. From then on, entry into the government bureaucracy, the most prestigious career path, was determined by a man's mastery of Confucian texts, tested through a rigorous examination system. This created a new class of scholar officials who shared a common cultural and ethical framework. It was a revolutionary idea, that governance should be in the hands of educated, moral men, not just hereditary aristocrats. This Confucian-based civil service system would become a defining feature of Chinese government for the next 2,000 years. The Han was a period of incredible innovation. The era saw one of the four great inventions of ancient China: paper. Before paper, writing was done on cumbersome bamboo slips or expensive silk. The invention of papermaking, credited to a court official named Kai Lun, revolutionized literacy and the storage and dissemination of knowledge. Imagine, for the first time, being able to create cheap, lightweight books. It was as transformative as the printing press or the internet. Science also flourished. Zhang Heng, a brilliant astronomer and mathematician, invented the world's first seismoscope, a device that could detect earthquakes hundreds of kilometers away. He also created a detailed star map and proposed a more accurate theory of the cosmos. In medicine, doctors compiled classic texts on diagnosis and treatment, and the practice of acupuncture was refined and systemized. The Han Dynasty was so foundational, so integral to the formation of Chinese culture, that the majority ethnic group in China to this day refers to themselves as the Han people, their language as the Han language, and their writing system as Han characters. The dynasty's legacy is not just in its borders or its inventions, but in the very identity of a civilization. They refined the concept of a unified state, run by an educated bureaucracy, and grounded in a shared moral philosophy. They opened China to the world and in turn shaped the world around them. The Han Dynasty wasn't just another chapter in Chinese history, it was the chapter that defined the book. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back to ancient China. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the events and people who shaped our world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.